Hi, King Dan here. This video is going to be entitled Nation, Nation State, International, and Interstate, and really focusing on separating the nation from the nation state. Before I begin, I want to define some terms because oftentimes these words are used differently and they mean different things depending on who's saying them. And that's actually why I wanted to create this video, is because in order for you to separate the nation from the nation state in your own mind, you have to make a differentiation between the two, and you have to start defining what they mean. So what does someone mean when they mean a country? What does the state of New York mean? Um, and this is important when we get into discussions of what's the kingdom of heaven, for instance. What is Cheongguk? So I want to define some terms so that I can, in the next slide, make the points I want to make a little bit easier because you understand the basis of which I'm saying it. So, first word is nation. The nation is just the people with a similar background or trait. And in our case, that trait is lineage. The nation means the people. The nation state is the government created by the people to represent the nation. This is often referred to a state. So you may hear the state of France be used in an international context, or if you're talking about the various states around the world. They're just referring to nation states. The word international means it's beyond one nation. So it's beyond one group of people. It's between separate nations. So international is between separate groups of people. Interstate means beyond one state, between separate states, so potentially between separate nations. So this one might be a little bit more challenging to understand, but it's actually quite simple. And really this video is to explain at its core the difference between an interstate and an international. So really understanding beyond one state, between separate states, may or may not mean between separate nations. Because if you think about it, the kingdom of heaven can have many, many, many states, but it's all still one nation. And that's really what I'm going to get to in the next slide. All right, so separating the nation from the nation state. If we look at it, I'm going to go kind of left, right a little bit. So if we see on the left side, we have France. France is one nation, and France has and is one nation state. The French people have a French government. But if you look over on the right, it says New York. New York is actually one state that's part of the nation of the United States of America, right? Everyone knows New York, everyone knows France, but they're both one state, but they're not both one nation state. They both have a government, but in the French example, in France, the entire state is one nation. In the New York example, it is still one state, but the nation itself, New York is part of the nation that's bigger than just New York. This is important because Cheongguk will have many, many states, but we're all still part of one nation. And if you remember the meaning of nation, it means one people. In our case, one people based on the lineage of God. Another example, if we look over on the left-hand side, is the European Union. Within the European Union, it's a large geographical area that's comprised of many nations, many people. You have the Austrians, the Germans, which are both Germanic, but they separate into different nation states. You have the French people, you have the Italian people, you have the Spanish people, and a lot of Northern European countries, Eastern European countries. So many different peoples, many different nations, and also their many nation states, okay, coming together to form the European Union. Now we differentiate that between the United States of America. So in America, it's one people, okay, but 50 different states. Now these states are states, but they're not nation states. In the European Union is comprised of nation states, whereas America is just 50 states. So maybe you're beginning to see where I'm trying to drill down to and get to, but one nation of America has many states, whereas the European Union isn't one nation. It's many different nations with many different nation states. All right, to where we bring this home, the European Union is a model similar to the Roman Empire, Soviet Union, or the United Nations. And in these examples, each of these examples is a international political organization. They're also interstate, okay? So they're between different people and they have different states. Whereas if you look at the United States, that's the basis and the model for the kingdom of heaven. We're all one nation under God, but we are and we do have an interstate model. Okay, so hopefully this really brings it home. This video really is just trying to separate the nation from the nation state. So if we look at the European Union, Roman Empire, Soviet Union, United Nations, and the list can go on because this is the historical model, then it's always a government that's beyond one nation and that has interstates, or it's beyond interstates as well. Whereas the kingdom of heaven is still one nation. It's one people under God who then can freely have a free market of interstate commerce. So I hope that kind of makes sense. For many who've never kind of thought about this topic, it may be a first time to make this differentiation, but this is actually a very important differentiation because when Father's talking about Chungaguk, he's not talking about building a government. He's talking about building a nation. So what is a nation? It just means a people. And those people will create, naturally, their proper government in the proper perspective. So it's important to understand that one nation under God, Chungaguk as the nation of God, is just one people. It's already in existence because the people are already in existence. Thanks.